What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are on the test server here, and we will be playtesting one of the brand new champions, Solanar the Gleaming. Solanar is going to be part of the High Elves faction, and he is a Void Affinity champion here. There he is, basically Goku or Super Saiyan, Sun Wukong in human form, I guess. But he looks amazing. Solanar the Gleaming here. He is going to be an attack-based damage dealer. He has Void Affinity. Got an 8-1 AoE. The attack will always be critical if his partner, Noldua, is on the same team. Has a 60% chance of placing fatigue. That percentage chance goes up to 80%. This requires accuracy, unfortunately. Now, fatigue, the debuff is, let's check it out here in the info tab. Right here, champions under fatigue debuff will receive a sleep debuff for 1 turn after using an active skill. And then you can cleanse it off. So basically, it's something that happens after they use the skill, so it's not as good as putting them to sleep, I think, but yeah, that's going to be something that he can do. 60% chance, 80% chance of doing it. Passive effect, when fully booked up, it's going to be 100% chance of counterattacking with this skill whenever an enemy uses extra turn or instant turn effect. Has a 35% chance of counterattacking with the skill whenever an enemy has their turn meter increased. This is actually pretty significant, so it's a good A1, very, very powerful, but yeah, you need Noldua to build him without any crit rate. His A2, Blazing 4, single target hit on a 3-turn cooldown here. 25% damage from books. This attack is always critical if Noldua is on the same team. We'll ignore 10% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. Yeah, you're probably bound to have a couple buffs, so you're gonna get 10, 20, 30% ignore defense, which is solid. This champion is immune to all debuffs while this skill is not on cooldown. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff on this champion while this skill is not on cooldown, this champion gains a random buff instead. That's really, really strong. So as long as he does not have this skill on cooldown, he's going to gain this benefit, which is amazing. His A3 here, 4-turn cooldown, 40% damage from books, which is huge. Unfettering Radiance attacks one enemy before attacking, steal all buffs and 100% of the turn meter from the target if they are not under Stone Skin. This effect cannot be resisted, so no accuracy is needed. This attack is always critical if Noldua is on the same team. We'll ignore Stone Skin debuffs. So there's a part for with Stone Skin and without Stone Skin. This champion also receives 75% less damage for enemy extra turns or instant effects on enemy extra turns or instant effects while this skill is not on cooldown. When this skill is on cooldown, reduce the cooldown by 1 turn whenever an enemy receives an extra turn or instant turn activate on them or has their turn meter increased. This means that this ability probably could come back very, very quickly. And his passive here, also very good. Whenever an enemy receives healing, reduce that to 0. This champion receives the healing instead. If Noldua is on the same team, enemies will receive damage equal to the amount of healing instead. So it seems to me like they will get damage and you will still get the healing. So that's what I'm thinking. And then once per round, if this champion is dead, revives this champion with 100% HP, 100% turn meter when their last living ally is killed. Then place a magma shield on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is 300% of this champion's max HP. He has relatively low max HP, so it's not going to be huge, but it's still pretty huge, 300%. If Noldua is on the same team, the buff is protected. Now, he's pretty good base stats for an attack-based damage dealer, 1600 base attack, 105 base speed. His kit overall looks good, but there's some conditional stuff about it that can be kind of bad or really reduces the overall value of this guy's kit. His A1 seems incredibly strong, especially the passive effect, the turn meter stuff, 35% stuff happening, very strong. We'll do some damage testing, we'll check out his build, and then we'll play him in some content and see how well he does. To me, it seems like a very PvP level kit, so let's jump right into it. All right, first things first here. So I think the best way to use Solanar is probably with Noldua, the partner. But first, we're going to test the baseline multiplier of somebody like Sun Wukong, where we know his multipliers, and then we can kind of compare that to Solanar. So first, let's test out Sun Wukong here. It's going to put the box here at the top left-hand side. So yeah, Noldua is here just for basically consistency's sake. So we have Sun Wukong here. Let's check out what kind of damage numbers he can do. Let's check out his A1. A1 about 28,000, so we can put that down. About 28k. And then Noldua again going in. And then Sun Wukong here with the AoE. And then we will quickly duck out. And then minus 28k from the total value here. So 183 minus 28k, that's going to give us 155k on the AoE. Let's go one more time in with the single target nuke from Sun Wukong, and we'll go in against the Venus here for consistency's sake. 106,000. So it's going to put that in there, 106,000. We don't have Helm Smasher on or anything like that, so there's no real chance for RNG. We don't have a Blessing on that impacts his damage, and we have no Relic on him to impact his damage. So let's change it up, and we'll go with Solanar here. And yeah, let's see what he can do. So Solanar and Wukong have very similar stats in their builds, so the numbers should not be skewed. And there's not much RNG to go around. So Solanar here is going to benefit from the full crit rate from the Noldua bonus. So let's see what he can do here on the A1. Let's see the A1 here. Wow, really nice effect. Loving that. Let's check out what it can do. 98k. So Solanar on the A1 doing 98k. And then let's go back into it. Let's check out the A3. So his A3 here, right? It should steal all the buffs and turn meter from the target before attacking because they're not in stone skin. And then he's going to attack. It's going to always be critical. He doesn't get any kind of damage boost here. So that's a little bit of a drawback here, but we'll test him out anyways. 1 time speed, go against the Venus. 52k. So the A3, 52k. And then we will duck back out and then try the A2. All right, coming back in here on the A2. Let's test it out. So the A2. This one, he does get a little bit of damage. So again, it's going to be 100% crit rate. We'll ignore 10% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. So right now he has 10% ignore defense from the stone skin. So yeah, let's test it out. 1 time speed and 57k. 57k. All right. All right, we're going to come back in here with the A2 again, just to test it out, this time with 5 buffs. 5 buffs means he's going to have a 50% ignore defense. This is going to be exactly the same as Sun Wukong's A2, and it'll give us a better look at what his actual multipliers will be. So let's check it out here with 1 time speed. 135. So 135 with the 50% ignore defense. That means that actually when compared to Sun Wukong, let's bring up these numbers here a little bit, and then we can evaluate them a little bit here. So his A2 with 50% ignore defense is actually stronger than Sun Wukong's A2, 50% ignore defense, which means that his multiplier on his A2 is probably higher than 5x. So 5x is going to be higher. It's probably closer to 6x, which means that his A2 could be pretty significant in terms of overall damage, especially when you can manipulate how many buffs he can land on his A2. And he also has the ability to basically generate buffs when debuffs are being landed against him. So this is a very interesting ability here. Now his A3, a little bit of a letdown, but it does go through stone skin, which is really good. So you can kind of pick off like a weaker champion or weaker damage dealer with stone skin on. The other thing is it has a really, really strong ability here with the steel buffs and then 100% turn meter, and it can't be resisted. So it's a very, very strong ability, but it doesn't seem to be hitting extremely, extremely hard. Also, we can take a look at his A1. His A1 is doing 98,000 damage, but Sun Wukong's A3 is dealing 155,000 damage, which is 50% stronger than his A1. So we can kind of conclude that his A1 is probably going to be somewhere around 50% less than 3.8. So if we want to do some math here, it's probably going to be somewhere around 2.5, maybe 2.5x. That's kind of my guess. That's a really, really weak A1, but honestly, his A1 brings a lot to the table. The fact that it has a passive effect that counterattacks a bunch on a bunch of, very common things like turn meter boosting, extra turns, and then landing the fatigue and stuff like that. His A1 has a lot going on, which makes it very, very valuable. So having it balanced to do lower damage kind of makes sense. All right, so I want to test out Solanar's passive here, where it basically will shut down all healing, and instead of healing, it's going to receive damage as well. So I just want to test it out to see if it works. We're in the Spirit Keep right now. We know that the Spirit Keep does a lot of healing. So let's check it out. Let's check it out what they can do here. Also liking this fatigue debuff a little bit more than sleep, perhaps, because it seems, obviously with sleep you can wake them up and then you can break the CC, but the fatigue debuff comes after they do their ability, which means perhaps you have a better chance. So we did see the heal happen, which is interesting. A debuff was attempted on Solanar, and then he instead got a shatter buff instead, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Another debuff tried to land. Now we got reflect damage, which is pretty cool as well. Of course, this only happens if the A3 is off cooldown. But something weird happened in that the boss did heal up. So the boss didn't have the healing received to 0. This champion will receive the healing instead. Okay, that was a little bit interesting. Let's try again. Let's see if the boss actually receives healing. Actually, I want to see if Solanar receives healing too. It's got a little bit interesting. Let's see here. We're just gonna A1. Okay, you kind of see there the boss did receive the heal, and then Solanar did not receive any heals. So if Noldua is on the same team, the enemies will receive damage equal to the amount of healing instead. So to me, it doesn't look like it's working as intended, or something is really going on weird. Unless this is based on accuracy, I don't think so. It's just maybe a weird interaction here. I'm going to try to find another boss with some healing, and then we'll see if it works on them. Another weird interaction here is actually I'm in the Nether Spider, and I am receiving debuffs. I'm not receiving any buffs, and this ability is off cooldown. So I don't know if this is intended, but you can still get debuffs. I don't know, passively or something. But yeah, we can, for example, see, there you go. But yeah, I basically just used the ability. But previous to that, I was just getting poisons. So what I really want to test is the healing from this guy. But we are getting poisoned here. Let's try it. Let's test it out. Okay, so he dies. And this is when we come back with the 3x magma shield from his passive, right? So really, really cool situation here where he has the ability to cheat death. When your whole team dies and he's the last guy standing, you get him back with the big shield. You get him full turn meter and all that stuff. I want to see the spider heal and see what happens. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if this is working as intended here. Maybe it doesn't work against bosses. That's the thing. So I'm going to try to find a wave with some healing or some debuffs and see how this works. All right, so this time I'm fighting the hard nether spider. So maybe the spiderlings will survive a little bit longer to get the healing off. So nothing's on cooldown and all that stuff. We are still getting debuffs landed on us. Let's see the healing in action here. So the spider is actually getting healed and not taking damage. This effect probably doesn't work on bosses. That's my conclusion here. I'm going to let Plarium know about this, but just so you guys are aware that you guys might not be able to use this against bosses. I don't know if this is intended or not, but I'm going to definitely let them know. Okay, something else that we just tested here is that block revive will prevent his passive from reviving him, which totally makes sense. So just to confirm that. Okay, so I want to see if these guys actually get the healing here from the cleanse. Let's pick them up. The shields activate first, which is a little bit of a drag here. Okay, I want to see these guys heal. Okay, so they are taking damage. Did you guys see that? They are taking damage. Now the damage didn't look significant, but maybe it's because the health pool is so massive. But it's actually, yeah, it's very interesting. Actually, let's get rid of Marius here. Honestly, Solanar and Noldua are very strong. Just the two of them, because the buff buff swap ability from the debuffs is so strong. So watch this, guys. Just general gameplay. So we're just gonna A1 all the way. So he's gonna be turn meter boosting, and there we got the counter attacks, 35% chance, right? And now look at all these buffs we're getting. Shatter, we have fortify, increase accuracy plus defense. It's actually kind of nuts. It's awesome. Oh, we're dead. So even though we're dead, let's revive ourselves, right? Let ourselves come back. Boom, we're back. And now we're getting some more buffs. Crazy, right? Actually kind of crazy. This is actually kind of crazy. Now it's saying that his passive will only bring him back once per round. So I think that's once per stage, right? So let's just keep going. Wow, look at this. Yes, that's right. The passive brings him back once per round, so once per level. So there we go. He could technically solo some of this. Wow, look at this. Look at all these buffs, guys. Wow. This is actually really, really nuts. Oh my god, block damage too. There we go, guys. Confirm block damage. Let's see if he actually gets the healing here from these guys. I'm actually really curious. Let's see. Stone Skin, Steel Terminator stuff. Okay. We're just gonna A1. Fatigue, not too bad here. Oh, we might actually lose everybody, but we're back with the big shield. And these guys are taking damage along the way as well. We could go and steal some buffs from that Sato. Yeah, let's do that. Let's steal his buffs. Boom, turn meter, and then a big slam here. The A3 doing all right. Counter attacks. You know what? Giving him a way to survive on top of his passive would be actually kind of insane. So either some kind of relic that gives him a chance to maybe survive a turn, such as Aspect of Suroth or maybe Last Laugh, something like that would probably be really really good, especially Last Laugh because you just have to out heal the damage that you took, and then with his passive you can definitely heal back quite a bit. So it looks like in terms of buffs, anything is game. We saw Unkillable, we saw block damage, I saw Stone Skin as well, and his passive has lots and lots of value. Really, really cool. Let's take him into the arena and see how well he performs over there against some actual teams. All right, guys, let's see how well we perform against this team here. The biggest thing about him is that if you bring him in against a lockout champion, then a lot of his kit's going to be shut down. But if you gear him in maybe like Chronophage, it might actually be okay. So that's an option. That's an option. All right, guys. So we did manage to be able to cut in here with the Noldua. Let's strip and decrease defense. Got some of it. Let's lock them out. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. We got a lot of buffs on our dude right now. Oh, that sucks. Let's see here. Okay, so block damage. Can we go through this in any way? Before attacking, steals all buffs if they don't have Stone Skin. So we can steal all their buffs and kill a guy, but Donatello's passive is going to be able to shut us down, which is a little bit of a drag here, I think. This one is always critical, ignores defense based on buffs. We have 5 buffs, so that's going to be 50% ignore defense. It's going to be pretty big. You know what? Let's just use the A1. Let's just use the A1. Why not? Let's try the A1. We're not landing anything there. Can we enfeeble this guy? Yep, that's good. And let's petrify you. Okay, that didn't work out. And we lost our dude instantly to this Odin. Feels bad, man. He does have a passive to come back, so we could let our entire team die, but I kind of want to go back in and try again. Try again here. So the turn meter boost triggered his A1, which is very interesting. Can we strip some of this stuff off? We kind of do, kind of don't. Okay. Oh man, losing all our dudes. All right, big heal. All right. So a little bit of a problem here. Obviously, the Donatello passive is going to shut us down. Let's try to steal and kill. Of course, we can't kill anybody. Let's just steal this guy's stuff. Steal his turn meter and stuff. Try to kill off this Odin. Purify you. Kill you. There we go. Turn meter boosting. And then we got the A1 off. It's actually kind of nice. It's actually kind of nice. Oh, and every time the turn meter stuff goes off, you get the reset on this. Wow, so we got this back pretty quickly. Let's try to kill Leo, 1 time speed here, and we still the turn meter boost. Lightning Cage, there we go. Lightning Cage protected the steel. So obviously a little bit of a drawback there, just with how the meta is, right? Can we enfeeble this guy? Nope. Okay, so maybe we can go with the A1 again. This is just a big damage hit. Kind of like it, the debuffs, but he doesn't really have too many debuffs here. There's the stone skin. Ooh, probably gonna go down. There you go. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, we gotta find a team without like really a lockout champion. So that's gonna be the big thing here. The good news is that his A3 is really good at resetting itself, which is really nice. We got the strip. Ooh, that's nice. Get the whole thing. All right. Can we lock you out? Yeah. Got the sheep on. Okay, we got a bunch of buffs. Hmm. I guess we're gonna go in and steal Odin and then kill him off. There we go. He's dead. Pretty big hit. 237,000. I mean, it's just an Odin, but still pretty good hit. Enfeeble on Taras. 2-turn Enfeeble. That's really nice. Let's see what else we can do here. This one is just damage, unfortunately. So let's see how well we can do against this Taras. 40% ignore defense with decreased defense, 164k. Obviously expected to do quite a lot in that situation. Let's see how we can deal with this. Feeble, that helps. Let's kill you off, reset our stuff. Damn, we got slept. No real debuffs here. Need to find a team with debuffs, but no lockout champion. So doing damage again. Kill you off. Oh wow, we couldn't actually kill off that Maruchka. Decrease defense. Okay, so there we go. We'll reset on everything. Nice. So that obviously happened because of the turn meter stuff. Any kind of boost, you get a chance to A1, which is actually really nice. So it's actually a pretty strong ability there from his A1. Let's try against this since we might get debuffed, I guess. But let's try. Kind of want to see the debuffs in action here so that he can transform the debuffs into buffs. Okay, grip some of it. Okay, since we have block debuffs on ourselves, it's going to be quite hard to get debuffs. But it looks like it still gave us buff. You see this revive on death buff right now? I think that happened because Tormin used the A1 and then managed to hit us with the debuff, but then that changed into a buff. So very interesting. So even if you don't get debuffed, but there was an attempt to debuff, and perhaps it landed, but you're protected by, for example, Stone Skin or block debuff, you still convert it into a buff. So it's similar to like the Wand of Submission, where it will bounce back the debuff, even though the debuff never actually landed on you because you're protected for whatever reason. So it works similar that way. And we know that the Wand of Submission is pretty busted that it works this way. So the fact that his ability, his buff swap ability, works in this fashion, it makes it pretty busted. Like this ability definitely makes it very, very busted. Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. Anyways, let's kill off this Hilvi. And off we go. Let's see what happens against this against the mythical here. So we got block damage here applied from our Niemi. Okay, so instant turn. Instant turn. So that's the A1 going off. Again, A1 going off again. Oh my. Look at that, guys. That is nice. That is nice. And then the 2-turn Enfeeble. Very nice. Very nice. A1 again. 97,000. Where did that damage come from? Where did that damage come from? Where did that damage come from? That is nice. Let's see what else we can do here against other mythical champions. Let's try this one. Okay, in this case, she went first. Oh my, what happened? Okay, let's try that again. Let's try it again. This went a little bit too quickly. Wow, look at this. Went a little bit too quickly. But let's try again against Senda here. See if we can get the A1 to go off on the Arbiter Terminator boost here. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see it happen. There we go. Counterattack. Boom. A1 landing. Wow, a lot of stuff happening here. Boom. Probably some kind of turn meter happened as well. Oh my god, look at that. Because of the turn meter boost from the Arbiter, guys. Did you see that? We didn't have to take a turn, and we already just going crazy against them. I mean, we did take a turn, but still pretty crazy. Here comes the instant turn from the Empress. We're going to counterattack here with the A1. Extra turn again, A1 again. And we're taking no damage there from the block damage, but we would have taken significantly less damage because of this passive. So yeah, actually really strong, guys. Really, really strong interaction there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, actually. All right, let's try this team here. I think we might go first, but he does have some debuffs to land on us. He does have some healing as well, and he does have a lockout champion, which could be big negative. Okay, luckily we landed everything. Strip everything, decrease defense, protect our whole team. And A1. A1 manages to kill everybody. Oh, and get the extra turn again. Yeah, the A1 is pretty good. I gotta admit. Okay, let's try this. Let's try against Bronco's team here. Let's see if the debuff will turn into buffs. That's what I want to see, because we saw that the debuffs did not turn into buffs against the Nether Spider, which is a boss. Oh my god, it actually worked. It actually worked. Look at this, guys. We got increased defense, we got increased accuracy, and we got unkillable from this Calvalax. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The interactions is actually busted. Oh my god. See, look. Continuous heal. The HP burn also gave us an extra continuous heal. So we literally got 4 buffs before the fight even started. Oh my goodness. It's actually busted. That's actually busted, guys. I mean, as a counter pick, this can be very, very powerful. There we go. Counterattack, resistance. Holy cow. Imagine starting the fight with this. Oh my god. And then he gets an A1 off because there's some kind of turn meter boosting effect, most likely. Strip everything off. And there we go. It's going to be a counterattack. It's going to kill everybody. There we go. GG. Wow. Wow. Insane. Insane. Now, wow. All right. I mean, we definitely saw a lot from Solanar here. I think, personally speaking, I'm definitely impressed. I wasn't really sold on his kit when I first read it. But in practice, he doesn't really need to use the A3 or A2 very often. The fact that it doesn't go through block damage, unkillable, it's kind of a drag. So we did see him get stuck a couple times where he couldn't really do anything. He can't go through block damage and all that stuff. He doesn't land debuffs. He tried to steal the buff. That's possible. But then we did get stuck against somebody like Donatello, which has a passive that prevents the champion from dying. The other thing that's a problem with him is that he is a single target champion attacker, which is going to be a big issue against multiple Mercurial set champions. That's also something to consider. But he does have an AoE that is chaining off relatively frequently, as you guys can clearly see. Instant turns, extra turns, and then turn meter boost. The turn meter boost just happens so often. Like, it's a 35% chance of happening, so it's still going to happen relatively frequently. Now, the other question is whether this champion is good without the partner, right? So this is the build I have on my Solanar. He has basically the exact same stats as the Wukong. So the Wukong comparison for the multipliers, it makes very, very close comparison. I didn't have a lot of RNG or anything like that. So these are kind of like the multipliers here. For Solanar, like my guess on the A1 is about 2.5. The A2, it's stronger than Wukong's A2, so probably about 6. But it's conditional, whereas Wukong's is not conditional, 50%. And then the A3 seemingly is quite weak, but it's probably still about a 6, probably, which is pretty standard for for a single target hit, excuse me. Now, both the A2 and A3 have some benefits. This one has damage scaling, which makes it hit way harder, as we can clearly see from the test. And the A3 here can steal turn meter, steal buffs, and stuff like that. So even though they have not crazy multipliers, they have great effects, which is very good. But it didn't seem like we had to use them too often, or we get jammed up with using them. And then we just used the A1, and the A1 just wiped everybody out. The pass is really cool. This revive ability is very cool. We saw that in some of the wave runs. This heal ability doesn't seem to work on bosses, at least on the test server. So like I said, I will go back to Plarium and see what they have to say about that. For example, we were using him against Nether Spider, and we couldn't get any of the healing reduced. We couldn't get damage off. We couldn't get the buffs to come from the debuffs that are landed on us. But then we saw against the normal enemies in arena and all that stuff, Cavalax, we were getting buffs and we were getting the debuffs swapped. We were seeing the damage getting reduced in the waves. We were seeing the healing getting shut off, which is really, really strong. So is he good without Noldua? I'm not too sure, right? So you can look at the build here. I got, you don't need crit rate on him, so just go crazy with crit damage and attack. Accuracy kind of works if you want him to land a fatigue. Unfortunately, I just didn't go for accuracy on his kit. I just think just straight up damage makes the most sense. In this showcase, I actually didn't even add Helm Smasher. I didn't even add Helm Smasher at all. So in the arena showcases, I actually didn't use Helm Smasher at all. And his damage was seemingly pretty okay. So I kind of forgot to add the Helm Smasher, but we saw it without Helm Smasher. So if you add Helm Smasher, he's just going to perform better. He doesn't have a blessing. He doesn't have a relic. So, kind of pretty baseline Solanar. And I think he did pretty good. But this is with the partner. And is the partner good enough? Is the partner good enough to play with Solanar? I don't know. I don't know if she is worth the spot, to be honest. Maybe if you put her in this level of build, supersonic, so that she can cut in, so that you can kind of disrupt the enemy, but you're not really doing too much to the enemy. You're taking away some of the buffs, but you're not controlling them, so they can still lock you out. They can still control you, for example. I don't know if she's going to be good enough. Her A1's actually surprisingly good, 2-turn enfeeble and all that stuff, and her passive could be useful. She also gets a turn meter fill when Solanar is on her side, and then she doesn't require accuracy in any of her skills. So together, you can build her even more crazy with more stats and all that stuff. You don't need accuracy anymore. So you can kind of build her a little bit stronger than this, but she doesn't really interact with the enemy that much to be, at a high level. But I think Solanar can be played. And if you have crazy enough gear, you don't even care about this crit rate stuff. But the dual bonus, he not only benefits from having the crit rate, so the crit rate boost here on the A1, the crit rate boost here on the A2. You also get the crit rate bonus on the A3. But you also get this, which is the damage coming in from the healing from Noldua. And then you also get the protected buff. So if those are not that important to you, or if you can build around that, then I would say Solanar is good by himself. I know some of you guys have gear that can basically make up the 50% crit rate, and then you're good. And you don't care about this healing damage, and you don't care about this protected buff. Because honestly, 2-turn protected is not really too long. But obviously, it's a nice bonus. But, you can make up this crit rate. So technically, you don't need the Noldua to make Solanar really good, and Solanar is really good. So that's going to be my assessment here. I think this video covered a lot about his general interactions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Solanar here. Is he worth it by himself? Is he worth it with Noldua? Do you think he will be a meta champion? What do you think about that? If you enjoyed the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate that. Thanks for watching until the end, guys. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.